Hi and welcome to Wrangle the Stars. Today I'm here with Mattie, the tribute of the Filmfest.
Hi. You're wrangling me. I mean, I am.
I'm wrangling. Well,
yeah.
I don't know. That's a format. It's called
this
like
place
that.
is called. The theme is Find Your Wild, and they're Jeep Wranglers, and I think I'm one of the rather wild ones at this festival.
Yes. Really? Okay.
I think so.
We're gonna come back to that later. But we're also here with Buddy G.
Hey guys.
Buddy
right.
G's less wild.
Definitely less wild.
Okay, so are you enjoying your time at the film festival?
It's actually really phenomenal. I didn't know what to expect because our film played last year, but it was an online edition, so we didn't get to come to Oldenburg. And every time everyone said, "Oh, Oldenburg's so cool, it's so cool." But they said, "But it's small. It's really small." And so I didn't expect the festival to be so grand, actually. And I came here and it's like, there's just so much going on. And every night there's something to do. Every day there's the movie to watch,
And Buddy, you actually knew that already since you're a regular guest, right?
Yeah, this is my 12th year here. I first came here in 2008 and been coming back ever since, and just love it here. It's great.
So why do you actually keep coming back?
It's a great festival. It's it's a big festival because they have really great films, and it's independence, which I'm an independent filmmaker, like Mattie is, so we support that. And it's just, it's just it's almost like the festival takes over the city. Like we just feel like part of the city. A lot of times festivals don't have anything to do with the places where they're from. Even in a big place like Berlin, the festival is almost separate from the city. But here the festival sort of is the city. Like we're going out for lunches and we're going to the local places. For years we used to go to the Erbsensuppe, Munz's. Erbsensuppe was like a tradition. So I just love that. I just really, it's just almost like a vacation.
It is.
Yeah, right?
And Mattie, you're the tribute this year. How do you feel about that?
I feel it's really funny when people call me the tribute because there's this series of books, Mockingjay, and the tributes were the ones that were being sacrificed to battle, So like everyone gets like, "Oh, Mattie, the tribute. Oh, you're the tribute." I'm expecting something really strange at the ceremony, like I'm going to have to like fight for survival or something. But that's fine. I'm used to it because all my films are kind of like a fight for survival.
Yeah.
So it works.
Yeah, you're basically known for your horror movies.
Yes.
But they're not your everyday horror movies, right?
No.
Why not?
I mean, I think that the reason why I'm getting this award, and it's such a big honor for me, I'm not the kind of person who has ever expected that I would be a filmmaker, much less get a tribute award. I'm still a little bit mind blown. But my films, they are the kind of films that I always say they have a need to exist. And they don't necessarily follow anything that's been done before. Because having not been a filmmaker before, I don't know what came before, so how can I imitate something when I don't know what's ever been done? And I think that kind of independent thread of storytelling is exactly what Oldenburg loves. And now here I am, being sacrificed with an award. Being a tribute.
For an award.
For an award, being a tribute.
Okay, and why did you actually decide to film horror movies and not like romantic comedies, which are also part of Lao, right?
A lot of people love romantic comedy. A lot of people love romantic stories. Like all their music is about romance or lost love. Yeah. But I've just never been a romance fan, you guys. And in fact, I'm married, but my poor husband is not married to a romantic. I feel bad for him. I think everyone says, everyone experiences love, but I don't think love is the same in every culture. So when you see how like a German man and a German woman flirt, I might not find that romantic. And when you see how an American flirts, a Lao person might say, well, they're so aggressive, that's not romantic. But everyone knows how to be afraid, and everyone has the same kind of fear. They fear mortality, they fear the unknown. So horror to me is really the universal language that speaks to everyone, and so that's why I love it.
And it's also very unique. And also, is that true that you're like the first and only female director in Lao?
Well, I'm the first and only female feature filmmaker.
Feature film, okay.
I think there are other documentary makers and short film makers, and actually there's some young women who are who graduated from university and who are starting to like experiment with what their genre is, you know, and it's great because like they make these short films and it's like, what is a new voice of Lao going to be, you know? And so, but right now I'm the only woman making feature films.
Oh, okay.
Fiction, I mean, fiction. Yeah.
And was it hard for you to move from LA to Lao? Because LA is like the spot for filmmakers, directors, writers, but Lao isn't. Or is it?
I mean, it's my spot.
It's your spot. Exactly, yeah. It's your spot. You put it on the map, basically, right?
But I mean, like, yeah, you're right. LA is the spot. Hollywood is the spot for filmmaking in I guess you could say the Occidental part of the world. But that didn't mean anything to me because I wasn't a filmmaker when I lived in Los Angeles, and I didn't know I was going to be a filmmaker or even really know much about film. So that was like a world that I didn't even think that affected me or affected the public. That was just some separate parallel dimension that I didn't know about. You know, my Los Angeles is going to get pho noodles at Little Saigon. Like, this is my Los Angeles. Or going to the Asian restaurants to like see the new grocery store that's really big. Like, wow, we have a 2-story Asian grocery store. That's amazing. So it's a little bit different. But I went from, I guess the culture clash was, the culture shock was different. So it wasn't so much a film thing, but just going from a place where we're very, I guess what you could say is we have a different lifestyle. Life moves very fast in America and everything is instant. I have to have this now. Then you move to a place like Lao where we say we live the slow life. And we have this saying that's "Wupanyang," and it means don't worry about it. It's okay. Don't worry. And we can just enjoy the slower pace of life and really take the time to consider what's important to us. And that's the big difference. And I think that that's what really inspired me to be able to become a filmmaker, was that I can take the time to make a story and to put it on screen and not have to feel like I have to do this now. You know. So
how did you actually slide into this industry?
I mean, it was a complete accident.
Really?
Complete accident. Oh my goodness, getting into film was just like so weird for me. I was a ballet teacher, and I actually used to do nails, which it's shameful. Look at how crappy my nails look right now. Like, I'm a bad manicurist now because I have to focus on film. And I went back to Lao to be with my father because I thought my father needed help and needed care. Turns out he was fine. He didn't need me so much. But we went with my husband and my dog, and my husband noticed that there was not a lot of Lao film happening there. We heard about a small production that was starting to work on their first thesis film from he had graduated from Anissa had graduated from a film school in Thailand and was doing this thesis film, and then there was like nothing else. And then we heard about these older films from my producers, my current Lao producers, and so we got to meet with them, and they said, we are lacking in content and we don't have anyone making new content for us, and we're older now and we don't want to direct and write anymore, we just want to produce. And so my husband really took that opportunity to be like, well, I'm a screenwriter, so I can help you with that. And they were just like so excited. They go, that's so great, you can write us a film and then you can direct it. And my husband's like, no, I'm not a director. You know, people hide me in a dark room, chain me to a keyboard, and nobody wants to see the writer, right? And he's like, and I don't even speak Lao language. And I was just there to translate for him, to translate into Lao language for him. And then he got really, I guess he got nervous, and he said, well, my wife Mattie can do it. She speaks Lao, she's a Lao person, and she has many years of performing arts experience. I teach 7-year-olds the difference between their right foot and their left foot. And even that like takes a year sometimes, you know, like right and left. Like, don't even start about plie and pirouette, like they don't know that. And they got so excited because they were like, we've never had a woman make a feature film in Lao before. Wow, we should celebrate. And they opened a bottle of whiskey and celebrated. And I was just like, I guess I'm a director now. and I'm a director now.
Okay, so talking about accidentally going into the film industry, your decision to be a filmmaker was also pretty late, wasn't it?
It was late. I was a musician. I grew up in a musical family. My father was a professional musician, so I played music into my adult years. And I studied music. I could read music. I thought that would be my life. And then when I was in the university, I needed to fill in my schedule to be a full-time student. And I took a course. It was called Politics and Film. And just changed my life. I had no idea what went into making a film, all the decisions. I thought you just show up with some actors to a location, you get out and you film. And once I learned about the making and the decisions and I can't say the control, because as a filmmaker you really do have control. There's so much more, there's so much compromising. The location isn't exactly the way it was in the script. And so, but the idea that you get to decide these things and you can create your own reality, I fell in love with. And I realized my skill set was more appropriate for that than it was for music.
Sounds very interesting, actually. But you don't only do films, you also write novels, right?
Yes.
And which actually do you prefer? Do you prefer making films or solely writing?
You know, if I had to pick, I don't want to pick, but if I had to pick, I would pick film because it's much more exciting. When you're on a film set, you're dealing with anywhere from 10 to 50 people. And it's exciting. You're filled with adrenaline. There's a million questions. There's problems. It's really, really hard, but it also keeps you wide. Writing a novel, I just finished my last novel, took 3 years to write. My books take anywhere from 2 to 4 years to write. It's very lonely and it's exhausting. It's more exhausting than being on a film set because there's no adrenaline. You're in a room by yourself and you have to motivate yourself. And I spend hours unmotivating myself. I'll do, the internet is dangerous for me because I will just surf the net all day long when I should be writing.
I love myself the YouTube.
Yeah, totally. So filmmaking is more fun, but writing is really a totally pure vision from my stories. There's no interference, there's no compromise. Everything is exactly the way I would want it because I could just write it and I don't have to translate it into a physical world. So it's more rewarding, but it's less fun.
So you both have very creative minds, right? Would you say so?
I'd like to think so.
I mean, you have to. If you're a filmmaker or a writer, you have to have a creative mind.
Yeah.
But how do you come up with those ideas that you then realize into a movie or a book?
This is a strange question for me because, of course, our life experiences inform a lot of the stories that we make and a lot of the decisions that we make for our films. But I feel like when I say that, it's a strange thing to say because at the same time, if I were to make a werewolf movie, I've never turned into a werewolf when the moon was full before. So, I've never had the life experience of being a werewolf. But I think that life experience, but also whimsy and fantasy and just having this imagination and this vision of what could or couldn't be really comes together, and it's quite opposite. Reality has to fuse a little bit with the fantastic to be able to make the kinds of films that Buddy and I make, I think,
Yeah, I would agree completely. Yeah.
Do you turn into a werewolf at night, Buddy?
Internally, I do. Internally, there are commonalities between turning into a werewolf and just living your life.
Sure.
That there are things that you can latch onto that you just take your imagination and let it go. Yeah. What if? My whole thing is my creative spark is what if. Everything starts with what if. What if this happened? Yes. What if a guy woke up and he was this type of guy and he drank this for breakfast and that's that's what creativity is. What if?
That's great. You start with what if, and for me the what if already existed. For me it's not what if, for me it's the situation is there, your what if is there, and then I say, and it goes a little farther. I always like to push things kind of to the extreme, and sometimes when the audience has an expectation of what's going to happen, I meet that expectation. I like to give the audience what they want, but then I like to break them afterwards by exceeding that expectation or going beyond it, and the audience is being like, why is it going so far? Why is it so extreme?
Sounds very, very cool. So I think the interview is coming to an end.
Okay. You're gonna ditch us at a gas station?
Yeah, totally, yeah. And I hope you will have a great time
we are.
at the Filmfest. and I hope you celebrate yourself since you were the tribute.
I mean, like, we're having a great time. I hope I survived the night, you know? Like, we're being wrangled in this interview, and we're finding our wild, but, like, I like to believe that we're here at Oldenburg because we're film survivors, right?
Yeah.
So, we'll keep going.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so thank you.
Thank you
For the interview.
Day.
Cool.
All right.